Hello, my name is Ahmad Fidas Badr. Shami, my matric number is 018323F1080, and this is DFP 30243, Object Oriented Programming Problem Based Task. So, what is this project? This project is to be used to elect a class representative. And here is the code that I have prepared. D is the main class, the candidate class, the voter class, the polling class, the voting result class, and lastly the abstract class. So this is the simplification on how the program works. So here we have an abstract class named abstraction and two regular class, which is candidate and voter. Parent class is the abstraction class, and the child class is the class candidate and voter. These two classes connect using a extend keyword. And in the abstract class, there is an abstract method that needs to be implemented in the subclass, the child class. And then this is the simplification of the flow. In the simplification of the flow, in the main Java file, we create an object based on other class, and it will also call a method from other classes. So here we have the candidate class and voter class. In this candidate class and voter class, it have a method named name, and those method will return a value. So in the main Java file, we will call the method in the candidate, which is name, and after the method has been run successfully, it will return an array. So main Java file will receive candidate name and store them in a new array. Then main Java file will also call the method in the voter class, and that method will return an array. So main Java file will also receive voter name and store them in a new array. And here we have the polling class and voting result class. The main Java file will call the method and send new value to the constructor. So first, the constructor will receive a value that main Java file has sent, and then we will call the method. And that method will also return something, and the main Java file will receive polling result and store them in a new array. The main Java file will also call method and send value to the constructor, and that method will output the voting result at the console output. So, how does the code flow? Answer is start with the PSVM. So here's the main class. In the red box is the first. You have to create an object for candidate and voter class, and then we have to call the method from class candidate and voter and store them inside the new array. So you might be wondering, why didn't we call all of the classes simultaneously instead of doing like this? Well, because uh, class polling and voting result need to have a value when we create an object for them. Because right now the value is not initialized yet, then we cannot pass those value. So this is the code in class candidate and voter. Why I do this simultaneously is because uh, the candidate class and voter class share the same code, but have a different variable. So these two method is called by PSVM and will return a value. Right? Why these two method name is familiar? Well, because these two method name is an abstract method that have been implemented inside of this class. Well, let's see here. This is the abstract class abstraction, and here we also have an abstract class, and here we also have an abstract method. In the abstract method, it doesn't have a body, so we have to implement the body in a new class. Those class is the subclass of this abstract parent class. So going back to those two code, here I have highlighted a do while loop. In this do while loop, to make sure if the user enter a wrong input, it will loop back until the user enter a right input. So here we have try and catch block to prevent exception from ending the program. Before the try block, we have declared a boolean in an error. In the error, I have set the error to false, and I will print a line which is enter how many candidate. Then the program will expect an integer to be inserted. So num is equal to scan.nest.int because I am using a scanner. So then we have the cache block exception E inside. Then we will set error to true, and this is we will print only enter a number. Then we will use scan.netSlide. The function of scan.netSlide is to make sure the buffer is clear. And then it will have the while error. As we all know, the loop will be broken when the condition is equal to false. So if there is no exception that happen while we enter a number, then the do while loop will exit. Then we have to create a new string array to store the candidate or voter name. Then create a for loop to enter and store the candidate name or voter name inside of the array. So we have string array name equal new string bracket num. Where do we got num? Well, in the try and catch block that we have done earlier, we will ask the user to enter a number, and that number will be stored in num. That is how we got num. And we have also a loop for loop when the condition is I is lesser than num. Let's say the num is 3, then the condition is I less than 3. Then we will print line, enter the name of candidate. Then we will enter a number. Here I plus 1 because human operate on 1 to 3 and not 0, 1 to 3. Then we have to plus 1 to the I. And then the user will enter a name. And that name we will store in CNAME array. And then lastly, we will return CNAME or rename depending on the class. Moving on. So here, create a new object based on polling class and pass the array containing candidate and voter name. So because we already got the array initialized with the data that we have gotten, so we can create a new object for polling. Then we have to call the method in the polling class, which is polling process, and store the data inside of new array, which is polling result. So here at the top we have the constructor will assign the class array with the array that is passed when creating an object for this class. And then we have the method with the data type or integer array. Let me explain the constructor first. So here we have created two variables before we have created the constructor. So those two variables is an array that will store the name of the candidate and voter that we have just passed. So basically in the constructor, it will assign the data that we have passed to a new class variable. Moving on. So we have to create a new integer array for storing the polling result with the size of CNAME length. So we have to create a new array to store the voting result, and the array size is based on how many candidates that we have gotten. Then we have an entire block of code that will be looped to make sure every voter can vote. In this loop we are using for loop, but in that for loop we also have a nested for loop which we will output all of the candidate names. And also here we also have the do while loop, and inside of that do while loop we have a try catch block. So this is basically the same as the candidate one, where so if the user enter a character instead of a number, then it will look back until the user enter a correct number. So in the blue block we have uh, an if else statement. So if temp num the variable that store the user input, is lesser or equal to the length of C name, which is 3 right now. And then we will store the voting result inside of the array that we have created. And then we will system out print line word that to confirm the voter has voted the candidate. As the number is larger than the C name dot length, which is 3, larger than 3, then we will output system dot out dot print line row number. And then we will return the entire array that contain the polling result. So here is the last one. We is create a new object based on voting result class and pass the array containing candidate name and polling result. So we have polling result and candidate name that we want to pass when creating an object. And then we will call the method display result in the class voting result. So here is the class voting result. And here in the top is we have created a new integer and string array to store value from the past value and creating the object. So basically the same as the polling where we pass the value of the array that contains the data, and then those value that has been passed will be copied into another array in this class. So then we have the method display result. In this method, I will display the name of the candidate and how many votes they have gotten. And let's see the code. So here's the code. We have the main Java file, candidate Java file, voter Java file, polling Java file, voting result Java file, and the abstraction Java file. So let's run the program. Enter how many candidate. Let's say we have entered not a number. Let's say enter hash, a G, the character, and then we will put only enter a number. This is because of the try and catch and do while loop to prevent an exception from happening. So let's enter a real number this time. Let's enter 3. Enter the name of candidate 1, which is Ramli. Then candidate 2, which is Sudin. Candidate 3, Aziz. Then we enter the how many water, which is 3, 2 and 3. Enter the name of candidate 1, which is Ali. 2 is Mutu. 3 is Bang. So now start the polling process. In the polling process, we have Ramli, Sudan, and Aziz. Ramli number is 1, Sudan is 2, Aziz is 3. So here it asks Ali, please enter the number of your preferred candidate. Then I have to enter the number 1, 2, or 3. So let's enter number 1 for Ali, 1 for Sudan. Then it will say, thank you, Ali. You have voted Ramli as your class representative. Now I will move on to Mutu. Mutu will also have to vote, let's say 2. Then Bang will also vote 2. And this is the result that we have gotten. So the number of votes for Ramli is 1, number of votes for Sudan is 2, and number of votes for Aziz is 0 because we don't vote Aziz. So in conclusion, this program ensures that there is no error that will interrupt the program from doing its job successfully. And this is the reference that I have referred to. So that is all for me. Thank you for the year and goodbye.